Chambers Family Restaurants.
Don't miss the Vikings versus the Colts. You'll find them Saturday night at 7:30. Good morning, I'm Bob Bruce, and if you've been looking for a no-willpower way to cut coffee, sugar, and cigarettes out of your life, this sounds too good to be true. I don't know about this. Then Dr. Robert Giller's Medical Makeover book could be for you. After all, it's worked for Liza Minnelli, George Hamilton, Mikhail Baryshnikov. Find out about the secrets that will make you feel great each and every day of your life and change you overall. Change your overall health for the better. We're going to get you well coming up next here on Twin Cities Live. Okay, Dr. Robert Giller is with us this morning, and boy, we're going to talk about the big three this morning. We're going to talk about caffeine, sugar, and tobacco, nicotine. How many people had a cigarette this morning? Who really, boy, right out of bed? Did you have a cigarette? Right, stand up. Right out of bed, did you get that puff away? Huh?
Yes.
Are you addicted to cigarettes?
Yes.
How many times have you tried to quit?
None.
But today, you're going to try to quit.
Maybe.
You may have to convince her, doctor. She may be one to work on. How about sugar? Do you have sugar? Where's the sugaraholic? Oh, don't. You raised your hand. You can. Sister, what did you have this morning? Did you have some sugar this morning?
Yes. I had 2 donuts and a bowl of cereal without sugar, though.
What kind of cereal?
Corn Chex.
Corn Chex? I bet there's cereal in there somewhere. I tell you, you'd be surprised how much sugar is hidden. Oh, let's see. We talked about tobacco, sugar, caffeine. Who had that big, hot, steaming cup of coffee? Oh, yeah. There's nothing like the smell of the bean in the morning, is it? Stand up here. Stand up here with me. How many cups you have this morning?
Oh, I can't count.
You can't even count how many you had?
Okay, probably 3 before I got in the car to come, and then another one here.
I bet you have one of those little coffee makers that just automatically turns on so soon you roll out of the bed, you just walk right down there, and it's waiting for you, isn't it?
No, I have to put it on.
You still have to get up and put it on?
Yeah.
Well, you are a dedicated fan. Our guest, Dr. Robert Giller, has a book, Medical Makeover. Doctor, how are we going to help these people? Minor addictions. Now, first of all, explain to me what an addiction is. If we are addicted to sugar, tobacco, or caffeine, what is that?
Well, medically, an addiction is a substance, whether it's a drug or a food, that people crave when they don't have it. If they stop eating it, they go through certain withdrawal symptoms. Coffee is a good example. People know when they stop drinking coffee. Even if it's 1 a day, sometimes you get a headache, muscle aches and pains. And then when you've stopped it, you crave it, and you don't feel so good without it. So that could be a drug or a food. And I personally have found, particularly in people who come to see me and they're feeling tired, irritable, fatigued, moody, and they're run down, they've been under a lot of stress, people become addicted to coffee and they don't realize it. People become addicted to sugar. I have people who are sugarholics and chocoholics. People also become addicted to more serious things like cigarettes or alcohol. Some people become addicted to eating. So you have to treat those addictions specifically. That's why when people have such a hard time going on a diet or going on to shape-up program, they don't realize the extent of these problems, and that's why they go on it and off it and on and off, and they think they have to use their willpower, and they can't overcome the addiction just with willpower.
All right, how many people are addicts and didn't know it? How many people have addictions and didn't know it before they came here today? I think, you know, I've got almost 2 out of 3. I don't smoke, but I like coffee, and I love sugar.
Right.
But how in the world are we going to find the willpower? And on your book, it says no willpower.
Well, that's the thing. I feel that I give people sort of a vote of confidence. I think a lot of people have the willpower because they start off, let's say they start a diet, or they start to stop smoking, or they start to reduce the sweets in their diet, but somehow 3-4 days they run out of willpower, or so they think they run out of willpower. But when you're talking about these types of foods, it's actually they're going through some sort of withdrawal. So it's a biochemical event inside their body that's causing them to crave more of this. And unless we can counteract that, it's very difficult to get off of it. That's why it's so hard to break these habits just with mental willpower alone. And what I've done is I use certain vitamins and minerals which help counteract these imbalances. In other words, there's a mineral called chromium that stops sweet cravings. So if you take that throughout the day, you won't crave sweets, and then you don't have to fight it so much.
Well, I'm going to load up on that chromium tonight and get about 3-4 gallons of that stuff, I'll tell you. Good morning. Thanks for joining us on Twin Cities Live. Your question for Dr. Giller.
Well, my question, it's a question and a comment, actually, whether or not he considers sugar to be a drug. And having worked with people nutritionally quite a bit, realize that there is actually no nutrients left in sugar once they get done processing it.
Well, I think sugar is like a drug in the body because it affects our internal blood sugar, which when we eat sugar, the blood sugar goes up dramatically, and that's why people eat it for energy, because it can give them some instant energy. But 2-3 hours later, it wears off, and then they start craving more sugar because that's what a drug does. When it wears off, you crave it. So you feel tired and irritable, and you want more sugar. So I really consider people sugarholics and chocoholics. It's very difficult for them to give it up and stay off of it because their biochemistry has become addicted to it, and that's the beauty of the chromium.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
Good.
Doctor, how old are you?
How old am I? 43.
Does this man look 43 to you? No, he
Thank
doesn't.
you.
I mean, he looks like he's in great
Thank you.
shape.
Well,
Have
I
you been
practice
this way
like
all your life? Are you
No.
one of those people that you never had the addictions, but all of a sudden you're going to give us advice to do this?
I tell you, the makeover started with my own makeover. I was about 39 years old and feeling everything that I wrote about in the book. I was tired, irritable, fatigued, moody. You know, the phone would ring the wrong way, and I was drinking more coffee, eating more sweets, drinking alcohol, and I just wasn't feeling well. And when I started to try to change my own habits, I saw how difficult it was, and then I was consulting with my patients about the same thing, and they were coming back. They were unhappy because they couldn't change their habits. I was unhappy because I couldn't change my habits. So that's how the makeover was born.
2 years ago, my husband and I both quit smoking, withdrawal. I mean, just threw the pack of cigarettes away. I cannot get away from that Coke.
Right.
Pepsi.
Well, that's very interesting, and I deal with that in the book also, is that when you smoke, you artificially elevate your blood sugar. That's a physiologic fact. So when you stop smoking, your blood sugar drops. And what happens when your blood sugar drops? You crave sweets. That's why a lot of people who, when they stop smoking, they have that fear that they're going to gain weight. And I noticed that. This is not an uncommon thing. Patients would come to see me when I got them off cigarettes, and they say, well, I'm not smoking, but I'm eating a lot of sweets. I say, well, stop eating sweets, and then they start craving cigarettes. So what I've done for that, again, is using this mineral, chromium, which is available at the health food stores. It's not a drug. And take it in the recommended daily allowance, not in mega dosages, 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. From my past experience, it'll stop your sweet cravings. So then you don't need the Coke to give you the energy or keep your mood up, because the chromium will do that naturally. So I suggest you start on that.
Do you have, are there any, do you get headaches or anything like that? Do you not feel well after you?
I feel tired. After I tried the Pepsi, quitting.
Well, let's not mention names here because I want to
Okay.
keep my job. A soft drink.
Colas. Okay. I tried the colas. I tried to get rid of them. Okay. I got 7 days, and my husband got so fed up with me.
Right.
He went
Well,
out and got me.
what
a
I
12-pack.
see, and this is the sort of the syndrome that helped me develop the makeover, and the use of the vitamins and minerals, and it's classic for all these things: tired, irritable, fatigued, moody, trouble concentrating, particularly at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Wake up in the morning, even after a full night's sleep, and you're more tired than you should be, and you don't know why. That's classic for coffee drinkers, for people who eat a lot of sugar and sweets, for people who are under stress. Now, the interesting thing is this, is that once this imbalance starts, every time you're under stress, your blood sugar drops, and you feel tired, irritable, fatigued, moody, and trouble concentrating, even if you weren't eating sugar. And that's why the chromium is such a boon.
Yeah, but what are you going to do if you can't smooth over a little problem in your marriage with a 12-pack? Then what?
At least it's not a 12-pack of beer.
That's true. That's
Well,
true.
some
Hey,
people, with alcohol, it's the same thing. Some people are drinking alcohol to support their blood sugar.
good morning. You're on Twin Cities Live. Go right ahead.
Yes, I have 2 questions. One, is his program safe for breastfeeding mothers? Because I am one. And my second question is, I always feel premenstrual. I am so ornery. My husband can't stand me half the time because of the way it seems like I'm always premenstrual. I don't know what to do about it.
Well, I can tell you a couple things. One is on my program with the vitamins and minerals, particularly minerals, I recommend the recommended daily allowances. So you can't get into trouble with them because it's not mega dosages. So I feel that it's safe for most people to take that. Second of all, there are certain vitamins and minerals that are specific for premenstrual syndrome. Now, the fact that you feel premenstrual all month long, I don't know if you're in the premenstrual syndrome all month long, but I can give you a list of things that I have found helpful for premenstrual women to help their mood and help their general energy and reduce the swelling. If we could do that, I could do that if you want.
You base a lot of this on getting not only good nutrition, but vitamins and
Right.
helping the body out.
Nutrition and vitamins
That's where
and
the no
minerals.
willpower comes
Right.
from, correct? Go ahead.
you think that everyone who uses caffeine and sugar are necessarily addicted?
It
Couldn't it be in moderation?
It depends on the amounts. Now, what the program really is emphasizing is for people who are tired, irritable, fatigued, they're feeling like they're under stress, they're more run down, they just can't cope as well as they used to. Now, at the beginning, I feel that you really need to eliminate coffee and sweets, etc., from your diet for 4 to 6 weeks, and take the vitamins and minerals to straighten out your biochemistry. After that, I don't like to create somebody who's a fanatic. I feel you can go back and have coffee once a day, you can have some sweets, but the beauty of it is you won't become addicted because your body won't crave it. You've straightened out that biochemical problem.
Do you drink coffee?
Uh-huh.
When we come back, we're going to tell you how to break that caffeine habit. Right here on Twin Cities Live. Don't go anywhere.
Hold it. Save that Pepsi top, because just by saving Pepsi Proofs, you'll get free Pepsi, a free hotel weekend, and a chance to win a round-trip ticket on Northwest Orient Airlines to Colorado, Fort Lauderdale, Boston, Hollywood, New York, or anywhere in the continental USA. So keep on taking off those specially marked Pepsi tops and get ready to take off.
There are 400 Northwest Orient Airlines tickets to be won in the Minneapolis metropolitan area.
Carol Burnett spoofs nighttime soaps this fall. Farrah plays a famous Nazi hunter this fall. So this week's People spotlights everything worth watching this fall. People celebrates People with our big annual preview of Eddie Murphy gearing up, Lucy coming back, Streisand in fine stride, Tina taking a turn, and Alf live, or sort of. It's People's fall preview of movies, TV, music, books, and much more. Week after week, People celebrates People. This week, hits and hoots for fall.
More pecani sauce. This ain't Pace pecani sauce.
And you ain't Burt Reynolds.
But Pace is made with your fresh vegetables and spices by folks in San Antonio. This stuff is made in New York City.
New York!
Darling, we're gonna have to shut you down. Pick up the original. Pick up the Pace.
Without qualified machinists, our world would be a different place. There would be no cars, no buildings, no airplanes. At Anoka Votech, you can train to be a skilled production machinist. As a machinist, you will produce intricate metal parts for the machinery that helps keep America working. Call Anoka VTI at 427-1880 to start your career as a qualified machinist today.
Now, just for a moment, I want you to imagine living 1,000 miles away from home, family, everything that's near and dear to you, and then all of a sudden you're accused of a crime that you didn't even commit. Well, that's exactly what happened to next Tuesday's guest, Steve Fossum, who was convicted of rape charges and was serving out his 12-year sentence when justice prevailed and he was granted a full pardon. Well, what's it like living behind bars knowing full well that you didn't do this and that the guy, the criminal that did this, is gone? He's living free and fancy all across the United States. Well, you can find out when you join us in our studio audience. Come down, be with me as we look into this subject. 641-1298, tickets absolutely free. Meet Steve Fossum, his mother, his sister, his lawyer, the attorney that got him set free. That's next Tuesday. You can come down and be with us here in the studio audience on Twin Cities Live. Good morning. Thanks for being with us. And your question for Dr. Giller.
Yes, I am calling. I have four jobs, and I would like to know how to beat stress. I'm on a lot of...
Doctor, doesn't stress sort of cause the addiction?
Right. Stress contributes to our need to have these things in our diet, stimulants like coffee or energy from the sugar. I can't help people eliminate stress from their life, but what I try to do is help people cope with stress better. And there's two ways to help them, or several ways to help them cope with stress better. One is to eliminate the things in their diet that are stressful. Coffee stressful, sugar stressful, cigarette smoking, alcohol is stressful. Also, there's certain vitamins and minerals which you can take that help alleviate stress, and I like to talk about the anti-stress nutrients, which are vitamin C, vitamin E, selenium, a multivitamin, and beta-carotene. That's what I really get people going with on the first week of the program. And then there are certain mental exercises called relaxation exercises that help release the pent-up tension in your body. It's sort of like physical exercise is good for the body, mental exercises are good for the mind. So that's the three things that I do to help people cope with the stress of their lives better.
Your program's broken down, and I like the way you break it down into several weeks. You don't say you got to do everything
right,
today.
It's too tough.
You take one thing at a time,
right.
And the first thing you start off with is caffeine. And why did you pick that as opposed to maybe sugar or quitting smoking?
For
or
several reasons. One is that it's very dramatic to people when they give up coffee. Even after 1 week, you feel so much better. You're less irritable. People who drink coffee are more moody. They don't sleep as well. So by 1 week, with taking the appropriate vitamins and minerals, there's a dramatic difference in how they feel. So that's why I've started off with that. And coffee is a hidden stress on the body. What happens is every time we drink a cup of coffee, it stimulates our body to release certain anti-stress hormones. And a lot of people who go on a health-related program want to lose weight. And one of the interesting contradictions is that a lot of people drink more coffee when they go on a diet. And one of the most common causes for people to fall off a diet is stress. They say, well, I'm doing fine on a diet, and something stressful happened in my life, and I got more hungry, and I started to eat. So if they're drinking more coffee, they're having more hidden stress on their body, and then it's just a little bit more stress, and they're off the diet. So it's really a good place to start.
Boy, that's happened to me.
Is tea as bad as coffee?
Tea is about 2/3 as bad as coffee. It's the coffee, actually the caffeine in the coffee that we're talking about. So there's caffeine in coffee, there's caffeine in tea. A lot of kids are getting stimulated with caffeine in the colas. And then there's caffeine in chocolate, there's caffeine in over-the-counter medicines like antihistamines or decongestants and certain aspirins. So you have to really watch out for a lot of the hidden coffees and stuff in the diet.
I have a problem with weight, and I get hungry at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I could eat anything.
Well, I don't know how much coffee you're having.
I do not drink much coffee.
Sugar you're having, but at 4 o'clock in the afternoon is a very common time for the blood sugar to drop. And that's why people get so hungry during that time. And that's why the second week I go into the chromium, and the third week I go into dieting or nutrition. But that'll stop that from happening if you take the chromium at lunchtime.
Thank you for waiting. Go right ahead with your question.
I just have a comment for Dr. Giller. I started on his program 2 weeks ago with caffeine. I've been drinking 8 to 10 cups of coffee for probably 12 years. I've got 4 kids, and I'm a licensed daycare provider, so I decided this was the time for me to quit. And I started 2 weeks ago. I have tried quitting coffee in the past and have gotten so sick that nobody can stand me. I had just a slight headache for maybe 3 days on his program and haven't had a cup of coffee or any caffeine for 2 weeks, and it's great. It's perfect.
Dear. Thanks a lot. That's what I find. Taking those vitamins and minerals is the way to counteract the withdrawal, and then you feel much better. The beauty of taking the vitamins and minerals is that you wake up with energy naturally, and these are my anti-stress formula, so you're building yourself up. At the same time you're giving yourself energy. You're not wearing yourself down.
How about decaffeinated drinks?
Well, decaffeinated drinks are not as bad as caffeinated drinks. And when the program's over, I can allow people to go back to 1 cup of decaf or decaffeinated tea without a problem of them getting re-addicted to coffee. But at the beginning, what happens is if you're drinking a lot of coffee and you switch to decaf and you're using coffee to help you cope with stress in your life and you get under a little bit more stress, you're going to go back to coffee because it gave you that boost. So you're really not getting ahead of yourself in terms of breaking your habit.
Thank you.
You drink a lot of coffee?
No, I drink 1 cup of decaf, but I do drink a can of decaf cola daily. That's about it.
Well, decaf isn't a problem. That's not going to be... We have a phone call and another question. Go right ahead.
Yes. I was in a treatment center for alcohol, and in that treatment center, they actually promoted the use of caffeine and cigarettes. And I was wondering how we're supposed to overcome our, alcoholism and then come on with the caffeine and the
Well,
cigarettes.
that's very common. It's very common. Even Alcoholics Anonymous promotes eating a lot of sugar and sweets instead of drinking alcohol, because when you drink alcohol, it's like having a shot of sugar into your system. So that when you withdraw the alcohol, you're also going to be going into low blood sugar. So to decrease the cravings, they recommend you take sugar and sweets. But I think that creates an additional problem in the future. So what I do is I treat that with vitamins and minerals to help combat that so you don't have the cravings. And I feel it's a more healthy approach.
he mentions that in that particular program they promoted the use of caffeine.
Right.
But throughout our society, every time you go to breakfast or you go to dinner, you know, they've got that coffee cup sitting on the table right in front of you. All they have to do is flip it over, and they're almost, I know many times I've had breakfast, I'll have 1 cup of coffee, and they're filling that little baby up every 20 seconds.
Right.
You could go through a pot of
Right.
coffee. Isn't it hard for us because we've got this pressure all around us to drink caffeine?
Well, I think, again, 1 cup of coffee or decaf isn't really a problem, so I don't mind that. But I agree with you. There's a lot of pressure, TV ads, etc. But when you're feeling tired and run down and you're under a lot of stress, you have to realize that that's not going to be good for you. And the really important thing is that once you get off coffee, just for 1 week, and you're taking the anti-stress vitamins and minerals, you feel so much better that when you do go back to it, it doesn't feel so good.
I was wondering, Doctor, about caffeine diet pills. I know a lot of personal friends that do take those.
Those are a problem also, particularly if people take a lot that can speed up their heart. And if they have a potential for any heart problems, I've seen people have problems with that. But you will get addicted to those things just the same as you would to any other coffee, and it's going to be harmful for your system.
Aren't they making new pills now without caffeine that do
I don't know. I'm
similar?
not sort of a pill person, so I'm not up on that. I really feel that with a good, healthy diet and taking the right supplements to help you cope with stress and to eliminate sweet cravings, people can lose weight naturally without even dieting. There's an amazing figure. We're going to get into sugar, but there's an amazing figure about sugar which we can go into later.
Is the tough thing getting over the hump? Because I guess most of us have been eating sugar and drinking caffeine, and some of us smoking for such a long time that we've forgotten how good our bodies can feel without all this stuff in it. But how do you get over that hump?
Well, that's why I've done it on a week-to-week program. I just try to have people give up or change one habit at a time. If I said everything, well, you know, stop coffee, stop sugar, stop smoking, stop alcohol, it's too much for people to get over. But if you can approach it 1 week at a time with one habit at a time, and you say to yourself, okay, this week I'm not going to have coffee, I'm going to take the vitamins and minerals and see how I feel at the end of the week. Most people can do that, and what happens by the end of the week, they're feeling so much better, like the woman who called. It took her 2 weeks, but she's feeling so much better, she's not going to go back to have that 8 or 9 cups of coffee. It doesn't matter what happens to her. So when you take one at a time and you get that sense of accomplishment and the incentive is that you feel better, you go on to the next week.
Good morning. You're on Twin Cities Live. Go right ahead, and thanks for waiting.
Yes, I'd like to know, I just found out that I'm pregnant, and I'd like to know that if your program is safe for the likes of me.
Well, I think that I think my program is safe for pregnant women, nursing women, people of all ages, because, as I said, I'm recommending healthy changes in the diet and taking the vitamins and minerals in the recommended daily allowances, not in mega dosages, so you don't have a fear.
Okay, you've been on this for approximately 4 years?
4 or 5 years, yeah.
Okay. How many vitamins and pills and all that do you take a day?
I take a multiple, C, E, selenium, so that's 4. That's what I take, 4.
How many times a day? Just once a day?
Just the once a day, yeah. Because you see, what I do with the program is I feel that you need more help when you're going through the withdrawal of coffee or sugar or alcohol or cigarette smoking. So during that time, you're taking more vitamins and minerals to build up your system to be able to get through it. But 3 months later, people get off a lot of these things because now they're stabilized. So it's not that this is a number of vitamins and minerals you take for the rest of your life. Actually, I like people to go back, and there's a couple of quizzes in the book, and then you don't set it and forget it. You just sort of go back and reevaluate every so often.
Coming up next with Dr. Robert Giller, Life Without Sugar. Oh, the pain of it all. Next on Twin Cities Live.
Hold it. Save that Pepsi top, because just by saving Pepsi Proofs, you'll get free Pepsi, a free hotel weekend, and a chance to win a round-trip ticket on Northwest Orient Airlines to Colorado, Fort Lauderdale, Boston, Hollywood, New York, or anywhere in the continental USA. So keep on taking off those specially marked Pepsi tops and get ready to take off.
There are 400 Northwest Orient Airlines tickets to be won in the Minneapolis metropolitan area.
Remember that special feeling called summer? Remember the taste of summer nectarines, so tangy, sweet, and good for you?
Summer fruits from California, fresh from the tree, taste them and see.
They have that special flavor that only summer can bring. But like summer, They'll soon be just a sweet memory.
Summer, summer fruits, it wouldn't be summer without us.
Do burgers sometimes give you that heavy feeling?
Lingerie, housewares, bedding, notions, knickknacks, tie-tacks, trousers, tweezers, tights, toys, tents, timber, towels.
Fortunately, there's a cure. The taco salad from Taco Bell. Crisp iceberg lettuce, garden fresh vegetables, tangy cheddar cheese, and seasoned ground beef. So why load yourself down with burgers?
Hi, guys.
Lighten up with a cool, refreshing taco salad instead from Taco Bell, the cure for the common meal.
Armour remembers.
Remember waking up to the smell of Armour bacon as a kid? You'd follow that sizzle, and there'd be Mom in her old chenille robe. She'd hand you a strip of that lean Armour bacon. Then before she could fry an egg, that bacon would be gone. Seemed like you could taste how much Armour cared. Well, Armour still cares, and you can still taste it.
It's 1986, and women with eating disorders like anorexia and bulimia are finally coming out of hiding and getting the desperate medical attention that they need. But there is another side to this binge purge syndrome and rapid weight loss. On Wednesday's Twin Cities Live, you'll meet two men who suffered from bulimia. Now, how did they recover? How did their families cope with this problem? Call 641-1298 for your free tickets to come down and be with us in the studio. Come down, join us, and let's talk over this problem. 641-1298 for next Wednesday's show. Welcome back to Twin Cities Live. Are you with us there at home? Are you on the phone?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Dr. Giller, do you recommend taking chromium in addition to a daily multivitamin?
Yes, I do.
And
Yes.
are there any side effects to chromium?
Well, not if you take it in the recommended daily allowances. I haven't had the experience of having people overdose on chromium. Again, it's a natural mineral in our body. The recommended daily allowance is 200 to 300 micrograms, and what I suggest people do is take 100 micrograms 3 times a day before breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That naturally stabilizes the blood sugar, so it eliminates cravings, eliminates those tired periods between meals, and actually helps reduce the appetite.
I don't know how many people have ever heard of chromium, taking chromium. Anybody in the audience? You have? And you had the donuts this morning. See, if you'd had your chromium, you wouldn't have had those donuts this morning. That's really the key in this sugar.
That's for the sugar, yeah, to help people get off sugar.
It balances out.
It's called the glucose tolerance factor, and it's been found to naturally help stabilize blood sugar tolerances so that it helps people with low blood sugar. It even helps people who don't have low blood sugar.
Why is it so hard for us to resist sugar? If we go and buy a little tiny piece of fudge, we're going to be good, and we're just going to have one tiny little piece, but that one little piece always leads to something else.
Well, I think what happens is that most Americans have become addicted to sugar, and they don't realize it. The average consumption of sugar in America is 150 pounds of sugar per year per person. Okay, now when you translate that into teaspoons, that comes out to be 40 teaspoons of sugar a day. Now, my patients will tell me, I don't have 40 teaspoons of sugar a day, and a lot of people in the audience who eat sugar say, I don't have 40 teaspoons of sugar a day. But when you look at the hidden sugars in the American diet, it's amazing. A regular soda contains the equivalent to 10 teaspoons of sugar. So if you have one or two sodas, you're having 20 teaspoons of sugar before you even turned around. Yogurt, which is healthy, but when you have the fruit flavoring in the bottom, equivalent to 8 to 10 teaspoons of sugar. A famous you-know-who cookie, 8 teaspoons of sugar. A tablespoon of ketchup is equivalent to 1 teaspoon of sugar.
Oh, no.
So Americans are getting all this sugar.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Americans are getting all this sugar in their diet, equivalent to 40 teaspoons a day, which is 640 calories. So then when you try to give up sugar, you wonder, well, why do I crave it? It's like a drug. Think about it. When you give it up, why do you crave it? And then when you start it, you can't stop it. And then when you don't have it, you're feeling tired. So that's why the chromium is so effective in helping this, because it naturally stabilizes the blood sugar, because people tend to crave sugar more when their blood sugar drops. Now, if the average American is able to give up sugar by watching their diet and helping themselves with the chromium, they'll eliminate 640 calories a day, which is equivalent to approximately 1 pound weight loss a week without a diet, without even having to plan, weigh, measure, worry what's going to be next Tuesday's lunch. If the average American will cut the sugar, then they lose 1 pound a week without dieting. And will eliminate those tired periods, the moodiness, the 4 o'clock lows, waking up tired in the morning.
Absolutely incredible. Thanks for waiting. Go right ahead.
I've heard that many people eat chocolate because it makes you feel very much like you feel when you're in love. Is that true?
Well, when you eat chocolate, don't forget, you're getting caffeine and you're getting sugar, and they found that it caused certain brain chemical changes that make people feel better. Also, those changes can be elicited by positive emotions and also running or exercise. So it's not only just how you are in love, it's just certain hormonal changes caused by chocolate. But that causes people to become addicted to it.
Isn't it about at this age, this young guy right here, that we get hooked into this thing with sugar?
Well, that's what happens. A lot of kids are having a couple of sodas a day, and they might be having the fruit-flavored yogurt or sugared cereals. So people, I think, get addicted to sugar early on.
Hey, is your program safe for, like, kids and teenagers?
Sure.
Okay.
I have kids. I have whole families taking it. And usually what happens is the mother or somebody in the family will come in and then bring in the rest of the family.
Do you feel that NutraSweet is better than sugar?
No, for two reasons. One is if you've been a sugarholic or you're eating a lot of sugar and then you just substitute NutraSweet for sugar, you haven't broken your habit. And it's very easy for you then to go back and have sugar again. And it's the interesting experiments that have just been published show that people who eat NutraSweet are actually more hungry than if they didn't. So it might satiate your sweet need, but it makes you more hungry. So that people who are on these artificial sweeteners, they don't lose any more weight. There's no indication that that helps with weight loss at all.
So you're saying that, you know,
get it out.
That if you have like a NutraSweet or something like that, that if you won't eat the piece of cake, but you may eat 3 steaks.
Right.
What about fruit? I eat a lot of fruit.
Fruit's fine.
You had said that the fruit in your yogurt was supposed to be.
Well, no, that's
calories.
not. I think you should take regular yogurt and put fresh fruit in it. We're talking about the yogurt that comes with the syrupy fruit already in the bottom of it. That's that type of fruit.
Thank you.
They have a syrup in that. That's what.
Right.
That's what does that. It's almost like a jelly or a jam in the yogurt, really. Go right ahead. Thanks for waiting. Are you there?
Oh yeah. Is the food supplement glutamine as effective as chromium? And once a hypoglycemic is stabilized, can you once again
Well,
use
glutamine
sugar?
is an amino acid which actually I found be effective to help people reduce their alcohol consumption. I don't use it so much for the blood sugar as I do for alcohol consumption. So I really feel that the most effective thing that I found in my practice for stabilizing the blood sugar is the chromium.
Yes, you keep on talking about blood sugar. Is there a way we can measure it at home ourselves?
No. It's more how you feel. There is a glucose tolerance test which will diagnose that. That's a 6-hour ordeal. But generally, I look at the periodicity of the symptoms. And if people are eating a lot of sugar and they're feeling tired, irritable, fatigued, moody, they're run down at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I think it sort of speaks for itself.
What are we know about smoking and lung cancer and all that sort of thing. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But what about sugar? What are the health problems that we're looking at with sugar that we may not be so familiar with?
Well, there's two aspects to sugar. One is the immediate, where I'll keep saying, tired, irritable, fatigue, moody, trouble concentrating syndrome. And then too much sugar can contribute to your weight. If you have a predisposition to diabetes, it will contribute to the development of diabetes. Sugar elevates the triglycerides, which is related to cholesterol and heart disease. It causes dental problems. So there's a lot of both short-term and long-term health problems with sugar.
Go ahead.
Is there a difference on how sugar affects children and adults at all?
Well, there's some studies that indicate that children who eat too much sugar are hyperactive, and then they have the problems with learning. So with adults, it might be more tired and moody, and kids, it might be more hyperactive.
Got to go to a break, but we're going to come back, and you'll get your sugar question, and we're going to get you some help here today. Next on Twin Cities Live.
In recent years, most innovations in frozen pizza have come in the area of crust. Thicker crusts, thinner crusts, lighter crusts, crustier crusts. Double Top Pizza from Tombstone puts the crust where it belongs, on the bottom of the top. And our crusts are doing double duty because Double Top doubles the toppings. Double the meat, double the cheese, double the taste. Double Top Pizza from Tombstone. You'll think twice before you buy anything else.
Louise, tonight's the bowling tournament. My shirt's stained.
Oh, relax. I've got new Arm & Hammer all-fabric bleach. It attacks stains, whitens whites, brightens colors.
Shirt looks great.
New Arm & Hammer all-fabric bleach.
Cleans, brightens, costs less, too.
Louise, it's so wet outside, it smells wet inside.
We need Arm & Hammer carpet deodorizer. 100% active deodorizing ingredients. While ordinary brands sit on top, Arm & Hammer penetrates to destroy deep-down odors.
Whole room fresh.
Work better longer, cost less too. Introducing Folgers Red Brick Bag. It's the freshest idea in coffee.
We got a fresh idea. It's gonna hit you like a brick. We take fresh coffee and do a little trick. Take out all the air, make a solid brick of flavor. Open up to freshness, you're gonna savor. Mountain grown Folgers in a red brick bag. It's gonna hit you like a brick.
Mountain grown Folgers in a red brick bag. It's the freshest idea in coffee.
Country kitchen, the country's calling you. You've got that hearty appetite for a good country meal at a price that's right.
Our specially priced chicken dinner, a country cooked meal and a good country deal.
Country kitchen.
Good look at the book, Medical Makeover, the revolutionary new willpower program for lifetime health. And it is revolutionary. It's quite a bit of different approach to the problems that we face. And your question now. We waited for a couple of minutes, but now you get your chance.
Well, you have addressed a lot about the physical part of the addictions, and I think there's a big psychological element here involved, and maybe we're involved or we're addicted for psychological reasons like stress that you mentioned, and for some other reasons. And I guess I've always had the feeling that if you give up one addiction, you need to substitute it with another for psychological reasons.
Right, I agree with that. And I think that what I recommend for the psychological, in terms of, let's say, caffeine, I recommend herbal teas so people can have something warm in the morning and have it throughout the day if they need it. And with sugar and sweets, I recommend having a fruit snack, which is convenient, and a lot of people can have that with them when they need it at 4 o'clock or at 10 o'clock in the morning. So I agree with you.
And we've talked a lot throughout the program about vitamins. What about the expense of these vitamins? Is this going to cost? I mean, do you have to go out and spend, $100 a day on vitamins for this? Or?
No. I think that in reality, it's about 4 Big Macs a month. That's for the expense of the vitamins. It's not that expensive. And I really think I look at vitamins and minerals and nutritional supplements to help us with our diet.
Probably a lot less expensive than buying 20
cigarettes or
cigarettes,
coffee, etc. It's not an expensive program at all.
Okay, go ahead. Thanks for waiting. You're up.
Yes. If chromium is not a drug,
right,
can it be found naturally in foods that we eat ordinarily?
It's found naturally in green vegetables and brewer's yeast and some seafood. But what I think happens to most people is that when they have a diet that's high, or most Americans, when they have a diet that's high in sugar and coffee and alcohol, they have a diet that's low in the chromium, and you develop a deficiency in the chromium. So I suggest that to get over that deficiency, you take the supplements for the first 8 weeks or 12 weeks, and then you should be able not to need it.
Why do you... Let's talk a little bit about smoking now.
Okay.
Because that seems to be one tougher than anything.
That's the hardest habit. In terms
Is that
of
why
the
you save it for last?
Yeah, that's in terms of the 8-week program. I leave it to the end because in terms of the psychological and the physiologic, it's the hardest habit to give up. And there's a couple of reasons why people, I found when I, asked patients, well, what happens? You start off and you give up the cigarettes and then you stop. What happens? Well, the most common thing is stress. People feel that they smoke, it helps them cope with stress better. And with the program already, we've done 2 things. One is by taking those anti-stress supplements, you're able to cope with stress better, so there's less likelihood of you reaching for a cigarette when you are under stress. And then there are those mental relaxation exercises also, which help dissipate the stress. So that's how I help people deal with the fact that stress causes them to smoke. And then the second reason we already touched upon a little bit is that smoking will artificially elevate the blood sugar, so that when you stop smoking, your blood sugar drops, you feel tired, you crave sweets, and you might be more hungry and gain weight. And we've counteracted that with a healthy diet and the chromium supplements. So a lot of the problems that people face when they try to give up the smoking are eliminated, and it's a much easier week than they expect.
How many people have tried to quit smoking? How many, stand up here. How many ways have you tried?
Only one way. I have to tell you that I happen to be an instructor in a smoking cessation program called Smoke Stoppers. So I wanted to ask Dr. Giller what he feels about the element of group support.
I think it's great. And basically, you know, when I was thinking about it, patients were coming to see me and saying, well, I can't change my habits. It's so hard. I thought that I got a lot of the principles. How do I translate smoke enders or Weight Watchers or any kind of group support system into a one-to-one situation where I could help them out? And that's where I went to the week-to-week approach. Take one little step, help them accomplish that. Take another little step, help them accomplish that. And then give them the support each week. So I think that's great. I think that's great.
Okay.
Now, we talked to this very nice lady. Stand up here with me now. At the beginning of the program, and she smokes, and she hasn't tried to quit. Does she have to go through all these other chapters before she gets to...
Well, it depends on what her habits are. I mean, if it's definitely known that people who smoke drink more coffee than people who don't, because that's an associated habit. So let's say that she is going to give up smoking, but is continuing to drink coffee. Now, she's psychologically and physiologically associated drinking coffee with a cigarette. So every time she has a cup of coffee, she's going to die for a cigarette. It's going to make it much harder for her to give up smoking if she continues to have the coffee. So therefore, I think it's better, if you want to be successful, to go through the Shape Up program and give up the things and then reach the smoking week.
Now, you were shaking your head about drinking. You drink coffee and smoke at the same time?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's very common. And
you think that the vitamin supplements and the relaxation exercises, if you gave up coffee and smoking, would keep you from not opening the door when you came home and walking right through it?
Oh, I don't know. I think I might be able to give up the coffee.
Try with the coffee, and then I feel that you feel so much better that you'll have the incentive to go on to the next week, and then you'll have the incentive to go on to the next week. Really, with any kind of habit change, the reader or the patient has to want to do it. It's not something you can beat them over the head and say, okay, now you're going to do it. If you want to do it, this is a systematic, sort of painless way of doing that.
Okay. You have to work on that.
Smoking is probably the #1 health hazard in the United States in terms of illness and disease. That's definitely recognized by everybody.
Okay,
so I really feel that that's something you want, a goal that you want to work to.
Excuse me for interrupting you there. Joining us right now from home, we have another call. Go ahead. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Go right ahead.
I would like to know how long the physiological symptoms of withdrawal last.
Well,
I can quit for about 6 months, and by that time I can no longer sleep or eat.
There are some patients like that. Usually it's about 6 weeks. But when you mean you can't sleep or eat, you mean you're just, what, too nervous, too tired, to what? To what?
Are you still there?
He's not there anymore.
Oh, he's not there.
But some people do find that even months later they crave it, they crave it, they crave it, and their physiology is still upset. I feel that the vitamins and minerals will help that person immensely.
Go right ahead.
Do you have to give up the smoking before you start, or when you start these vitamins and stuff? Or can you start taking the vitamins and then gradually...
Well, no, I think the smoking is the last week of the program. First you want to work on caffeine and then sugar, and then you improve your diet, and then you get to the end, and you're already taking all your vitamins and minerals. You're already prepared to do it, and it's a much easier week then.
So after the first week, then you'd be able to give up smoking easier?
Yes, but it might take you 3 weeks before you're ready.
Okay, thank you.
So you give us a chance to really build up...
Right.
Not only a little mental courage, but
The
really inside...
Yeah, the physiology. That's really the important fact.
I've been waiting to ask this question all day. What is a butt jar?
A butt jar? Well...
Now, wait a minute. Don't laugh. I mean, listen to this. This is great. I love this.
That's a pretty standard item in smoking control programs where people, smoking, when you smoke, it affects your sense of smell. And I don't know if smokers realize they smell terrible. I could smell my patients who smoke a mile away. Once I walk in the room, I know if they smoke. They know if they smoke cigarettes in the morning, I know already. And so what we have them do is take their cigarette butts and put them in a jar and start to save them. And then at a certain point, when they want to smoke, before they smoke, we have them open the jar and smell the jar. And then they know what their clothes smell like, and they know what they smell like. And if you put a little water in there, too, it makes it even better.
Oh, the water just kind of sloshes around in the bottom, really gets it going. Okay, more with Dr. Robert Giller on how to get over minor addictions. Next on Twin Cities Live. Don't go away.
In just a minute, you're going to find out how you can get a combination alarm clock telephone free. So stay where you are. Then I'll be right back to tell you more.
When you read time each week, you know more. You understand.
Time flies and you are there. Time cries and lets you care. You understand the world we share.
Now Time is offering you more than ever. Order Time right now, and you'll get this terrific alarm clock and push-button telephone in one, free with your paid subscription.
Yes, time brings you closer to living. Time puts events in sharper view. Time brings it all right home to you.
Each week, Time takes you beyond the news to show you how fascinating the world really is. And now you can get Time for almost half off the cover price. Call 1-800-321-8900 and get 30 issues of Time, payable in 4 easy installments of just $7.49 each. Order now, and you'll also get Time's combination alarm clock telephone free. This handsome space saver comes complete with snooze bar and automatic redial, perfect for your desk or bedside. So call 1-800-321-8900 right now.
Throughout your world, throughout your land, time puts it all right in your hand. Read time and understand.
Hi, I'm Nancy, one of the operators here at Time. If you call us right now, we'll send you Time magazine at almost half off the cover price. And you'll also get, free with your paid subscription, the Time alarm clock telephone, featuring snooze alarm and automatic redial. This offer won't last long, so call now.
How many out there have ever thought about walking over about a 40-foot-long bed of hot coals barefooted? You ever thought about that? Well, when you think of fire walking, that's what they call that. Do you think of Anthony Robbins? He's the man who has empowered thousands of his followers to do just that by teaching them to unlock their brain's hidden powers. Now, if you want to discover how to overcome your deepest fears, develop your strengths, and reduce your inhibitions, join us for a special taping of Twin Cities Live. And this is a chance for those of you who are off at night. It'll be Wednesday night, September 3rd at 7 p.m. September 3rd at 7 p.m. when our guest will be famed firewalking guru Anthony Robbins. Call us now, 641-1298 for your free tickets to join me in the studio audience. I will not make you walk over fire. I promise you that, but we will have a good time. That's Wednesday night, September 3rd at 7 p.m. Thank you for waiting. Go right ahead.
Yes, I have 2 questions. One is honey as bad for you as sugar? And also, if you take daily dosage of brewer's yeast, is that enough chromium?
Honey is the exact same thing as sugar in terms of your metabolism. There's no benefit from having honey instead of sugar. And I recommend when people are addicted to sugar not to have honey also. And there's other things that are like sugar. You have to look at the labels: sucrose, lactose, glucose, maltose. If you see any of those, corn syrup, those are all equivalents to sugar. Taking brewer's yeast is a good source of chromium, but I haven't found it to be enough in people who are sugarholics.
How many people are on a diet? How many people have been on a diet for the last 20 years? Okay. We're all pretty honest here. How do you feel about the great American diet and weight loss?
Well, I think that diets are very artificial in a sense, because you're on a diet, you're off a diet, you're on a diet, you're off a diet. And really what you want to have is a program that just sort of flows with your life, and you can sort of be healthy and lose weight naturally. And what I've tried to do is 2 things. One is by helping people eliminate the sweets from their diet, you can lose about a pound a week naturally. And the other thing that people have to do, and this is really the basis of all diets, but they try to get you a little gimmick. You rotate here, or you plan here, or you don't eat this food with that food. But the basic fundamentals are get rid of the sweets and reduce the fat. And the American Heart Association and the National Cancer Institute both say that the American diet contains twice the amount of fat than it should, right? And that the average American, if he would reduce the fat by 1/2, that they would lose 1 pound a week again without even having to diet, and live longer, reduce the incidence of cancer and heart disease. Now, the following foods need to be reduced by 1/2. Red meat, cheese, nuts, eggs, butter, whole milk, avocados, fried foods, and cream sauces. Now, wait a minute, I didn't say eliminate, right? Think about this. Just reduce it in half. If you're having 6 eggs a week, have 3 eggs a week. If you're having cheese every day, have cheese every other day. If you're having meat 4 times a week, have it twice a week. That's an effective way. You don't have to plan things, you don't have to weigh things, you don't have to measure things, and you'll essentially lose a pound a week, and it's preventive medicine.
So you were groaning, and he only said half.
Right.
You know, so you can still have it occasionally.
So you can then, so that in terms of developing a healthy lifestyle, you can lose weight and not think about being on a diet. And that's what generally happens to people.
What about I read it in your book, and I was amazed at it, the balanced diet myth.
Right. Well, you know, when I have a problem, when people want to bring up something about the program, and they say, well, if you had a balanced diet, you wouldn't need to take vitamins and minerals. But that's sort of rhetorical, because who has a balanced diet? That's what the problem is with Americans. Too much fast foods, too much fat, too much coffee, too much sugar. So granted, if people did have a healthy diet, they might not need to take vitamins and minerals. But for the average American, with the average American diet at this point in 1986, it doesn't work that way. There is no such thing.
Okay, thanks for jumping in with us on this subject today. You're on Twin Cities Live. Go right ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got a question. Back when I was in college in Memphis, I had gone to a hypnotist to quit smoking. It was successful for a while, and then about maybe 6 months after I'd gone through hypnosis, I started smoking again. I can be asleep, wake up, and I'll be in a cold sweat, craving nicotine. I'll get up, smoke a cigarette, even if it's only one puff off of a cigarette. That will relax me enough where I can then go back to sleep.
Well, that could be a change in your blood sugar. I couldn't say, dear. I know that people are definitely addicted to it. And withdrawal, some of the symptoms when people go into low blood sugar are very similar. They go into cold sweat and they're tired, then they crave it around 4 o'clock in the morning. So I would think that if you tried those vitamins and minerals, see if that relieves you.
Okay. Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you for calling. Don't you run off. When we come back, we'll go right to your question, okay? All right. Don't you go anywhere. We'll come back with Twin Cities Live.
Fans, fans, fans. Flower City, Flower Town have the lowest prices of the season on fans, all on sale. Save from 15 to 40% off on many models. All Casablanca models are on sale. Panasonic starting as low as $59. New Mastercraft fans starting at $89.88. Casablanca and Mastercraft come in beautiful designer colors. Litex fans as low as $38.95. 52-inch fans as low as $54. Flower Town, Bloomington, and Flower City, Crystal and Harmar Mall.
Can you serve tacos at home that taste like they came from a fine Mexican restaurant? Can you get crispy taco shells made from fresh corn instead of processed corn flour? And a chunky taco salsa with the flavor of sun-ripened tomatoes, fresh onions, and fire-roasted chilies? Yes, for the taste of authentic Mexican food, see Ortega.
See Ortega! See Ortega! See Ortega!
Presbyterian Homes of Minnesota, a national leader in older adult care, needs nursing assistants to staff our new supportive service center, Langdon Lake Place in Roseville. As a nursing assistant, you'll work in on-campus programs for seniors, including long and short-term care, respite vacation care, and the Alzheimer's disease program. Join our staff of nursing assistants, dedicated to the dignity and independence of people in retirement. Call 631-6200 during regular business hours. The Presbyterian Homes of Minnesota.
When fall comes to Minnesota, so does the new Minnesota Explorer. Call this special toll-free number now to get your free fall issue. It's full of fall vacation news and a calendar of over 200 fall events. And it's free when you call 1-800-258-9800. Other states promise a great fall vacation. Minnesota delivers it. 1-800-258-9800.
Well, you see the book there, Medical Makeover by Dr. Robert Giller, and I'm looking at the back and suggested we mentioned some of the names of some of the famous people. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he had migraine headaches, went on this program, and it helped him. Carrie Fisher, the actress, we mentioned Liza Minnelli earlier. You could jump right in there with all those famous people.
Sure.
Your question.
Yes, I always felt that exercise was real important in your diets, and I was wondering
Right, I think so too. I have a chapter on exercise, and I feel that it's important to help people lose weight, and it's also very good to help people with their moods. And not a lot of exercise is necessary. 20 minutes 3 times a week is a good amount to get going.
Yes, is chewing tobacco just as bad as smoking cigarettes, and how can you get somebody else to quit?
Well, chewing tobacco, it causes health problems just as cigarettes do, different forms of cancer, though, more around the mouth and the tongue and the throat. And it's very hard to get somebody to quit who doesn't want to. They really have to have the incentive on their own, and then they can get going.
I've been plagued with PMS for years and years, and I finally found a doctor to listen to me, and he said to write down all the symptoms that I was having and keep a daily diary. Well, I also started to take magnesium at the same time. And I noticed my diary was changing. I wasn't putting much in the diary. I didn't have the cravings for the chocolate and the mood swings.
There are certain vitamins and minerals that are very effective for PMS. Magnesium is one of them, B6, and something that's wonderful is evening primrose oil. So I feel that PMS can be treated with a combination of diet and vitamins and minerals also.
Okay, there's a controversy over the natural vitamins and the manufactured vitamins.
I think all vitamins are vitamins are vitamins. I think that you're paying more money for, quotes, natural vitamins. And as long as it's the same dosage, it's equivalent.
Doctor, are you also a nutritionist?
Well, my practice is nutrition with preventive medicine and vitamins and minerals.
All right, we live in the Twin Cities area. How do we get involved in the program? Where do you practice?
I'm in New York City. Got to buy the book,
we can
dear.
Tell that.
Buy the book.
Right here it is.
Actually,
right here.
I'm from Chicago, though.
Go ahead.
What is your rate of success using the vitamins and minerals?
Well, I'm very happy with my practice. I get a lot of satisfaction because people come back and tell me how well they're doing. So I can't say I'm successful with everybody, but it's been a big change for me in how I used to try to recommend people to go on diets and change their lifestyle, and now this works and the other ways didn't. So I'm very happy with it.
Before we close out with some more questions, I just want to thank Dr. Robert Giller for joining us today. I think we all have minor addictions, and we're all trying to find some help, and I think you might find a little help in this book. It's an interesting program. You might want to pick it up. Thank you for being with us today, Doctor. It was an excellent hour. Thank you. Stand right up here and go ahead.
Hotel accommodations and dining provided by the Radisson University Hotel, 615 Washington Avenue Southeast on the University of Minnesota East Bank campus. Limousine service for the guests of Twin Cities Live, provided by Henderson Chauffeured Cadillacs. Hair and makeup, courtesy of the Hair Forum, Westbrook Mall, Brooklyn Center.
Hello, I'm a non-smoker, and I'm very curious to know how does that affect people that are around people that smoke a lot?
Well, there are some indications that inhaled smoke has some damaging effects. So I think that the best you can do is avoid it, and hopefully there'll be more and more non-smoking sections everywhere. But there is some effect for it.
Thank you very much for being with us today. The book, once again, Medical Makeover.